When we peer into the heart of our cities and examine the grand structures attributed to the so-called Old World, we are confronted with a series of architectural impossibilities, feats of design, scale, and precision that do not fit into the technological narrative we've been handed. These enigmatic buildings, stretching from the palaces of St. Petersburg to the civic halls of Chicago, are more than just relics of a bygone era. They are silent testaments to a level of knowledge and mastery that, by all official accounts, should not have existed. Let's begin with the foundations. Massive granite blocks, some weighing upwards of 20 or even 30 tons, perfectly cut and slotted together with joints so tight that not even a razor blade can slip between them. These aren't anomalies limited to one continent or culture. We find similar construction in the Kremlin's walls, in the foundations of Parisian cathedrals, in the base stones of San Francisco's old civic buildings, and in the mysterious megaliths of South America. If we accept mainstream history, these stones were somehow quarried, shaped, transported, and set in place using little more than horses, ropes, and sheer manpower, a claim modern engineers find baffling. Even with today's cranes and hydraulic technology, moving and positioning such stones with the same precision would be a logistical nightmare. Yet, time after time, we see evidence of this mastery embedded in the very bones of our cities. The mystery deepens as we move from the structural to the mathematical. Across the world, buildings constructed during supposedly disconnected eras and by unrelated cultures all exhibit the same ratios and geometrical alignments. The golden ratio, sacred geometry, and other advanced mathematical principles are embedded in everything from the facades of government buildings to the layouts of city streets. These aren't accidental. The same proportions appear in the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., the Winter Palace of St. Petersburg, and the Forbidden City in Beijing. The question arises, how did builders using hand tools and rudimentary mathematics achieve such perfection? And why do these forms recur so consistently across continents, long before the era of global communication? Inside, these structures become even more astonishing. We find staircases seemingly suspended in air, with massive slabs of marble arching upward with no visible means of support, an engineering challenge even today. Ceilings soar into domes adorned with frescoes and gold leaf, the acoustics so perfect that a whisper at one end can be heard clearly at the other. Columns rise in uniform ranks, each one identical to the next, their diameters and fluting measured to the millimeter. Intricate mosaics, parquet floors, and ornamental ironwork reveal a level of craftsmanship that points to industrial capability far beyond what is believed to have existed at the time. Perhaps the most striking clue is the global uniformity of these features. Identical architectural motifs, arched windows with keystones, Corinthian columns, star-shaped forts, and grand domes appear from St. Louis to Istanbul, from Melbourne to Mumbai. These are not the products of isolated genius. They are signatures of a standardized architectural language, shared across oceans and continents at a time when, supposedly, no such cross-pollination could have occurred. Modern architects and engineers, when pressed, admit their astonishment. The level of precision, the scale, and the sheer ambition of these buildings should have required technologies, cranes, electric tools, computer-aided design, that did not exist in the 18th or 19th centuries. And yet, there they stand, enduring and mysterious, as if built by a hand that understood not just the art of construction, but the very mathematics of the universe. So what explains these architectural impossibilities? The traditional narrative, which credits these wonders to a patchwork of local builders working with limited resources, strains credulity. The evidence instead points to a hidden unity, a civilization with a global reach and advanced knowledge, whose techniques and technologies have been deliberately erased from our collective memory. This is the civilization known as Tartaria, whose fingerprints are etched into the stone and steel of our greatest structures. But if Tartaria was so advanced, what happened to its technology? Why do we not see its machines, its engines, its means of construction, preserved alongside its architectural marvels? The answer, according to the Tartarian theory, lies in a systematic and ongoing campaign of suppression, a timeline of technological erasure that stretches from the mud flood cataclysm to the modern day. The suppression began with the very fall of Tartaria itself. The mud flood, a cataclysmic event that, proponents argue, buried entire cities and wiped away evidence of advanced technology, set the stage for a new world order. In the aftermath, those who rose to power undertook a deliberate effort to bury not just the cities, but the knowledge and inventions that had powered Tartaria's greatness. This pattern of suppression did not end in the 19th century. Instead, it morphed and evolved, targeting any individual or group who came close to rediscovering or replicating the lost technologies. The case of Nikola Tesla stands as perhaps the most infamous example. In the early 20th century, Tesla's experiments with wireless energy transmission threatened to upend the emerging fossil fuel economy. His Wardenclyffe Tower, designed to draw and transmit atmospheric electricity, was functionally identical to many of the Tartarian structures now classified as mere architecture. When Tesla revealed that his system could deliver free energy that could not be metered, taxed, or controlled, the financial backers withdrew. The tower was demolished, the patents suppressed, and Tesla himself was marginalized, his later work confiscated by government agencies. This is not an isolated story. Time and again, inventors who challenge the established technological paradigm find themselves silenced. In the 1930s, Royal Raymond Rife developed a device that used specific frequencies to destroy cancer cells, a technology that, if authentic, would have revolutionized medicine. Yet Rife's laboratory was burned, his equipment confiscated, and his reputation attacked. The medical establishment, wedded to pharmaceutical solutions, buried his research. Decades later, Stanley Meyer unveiled a water-powered car, capable of running on water by splitting hydrogen with resonance frequencies. His invention, which threatened to undermine the oil monopoly, attracted offers of massive buyouts. When Meyer refused to sell, he died suddenly under mysterious circumstances after a meeting with prospective investors. His notes and prototypes vanished into the vaults of those with vested interests in the status quo. Patent offices, especially in the United States, are filled with similar stories. Applications for revolutionary energy technologies, quietly classified under national security or purchased and shelved by corporations with a stake in fossil fuels. The same pattern emerges. Discoveries that would grant humanity autonomy and abundance are systematically suppressed, ensuring that the dependency established after Tartaria's fall remains unchallenged. This suppression is not merely the product of greed or short-sightedness. It is, according to the Tartarian narrative, the direct continuation of a strategy first employed after the mud flood. Keep humanity ignorant of its true potential and history, lest it rise again to claim its birthright. But how is such a profound amnesia enforced across centuries and continents? The answer lies in the concept of the reset, a cyclical mechanism that has shaped human history since time immemorial. The Tartarian reset is only the latest in a long line of historical erasures. Archaeological and historical records suggest that previous civilizations, the Egyptians, the Maya, the Sumerians, also possessed knowledge and technology far beyond what is conventionally attributed to them. The pyramids of Giza, for example, are aligned with an astronomical precision that defies explanation. The Mayan calendar encodes cosmic cycles with uncanny accuracy. The Sumerians left behind records of advanced mathematics and engineering. Each of these civilizations, after a period of flourishing, suffered a sudden and mysterious regression. Their knowledge was lost or deliberately destroyed, their achievements rewritten as myth or attributed to supernatural forces. According to the reset hypothesis, these were not isolated incidents, but expressions of a repeating cycle, a cosmic rhythm that periodically sweeps away the old and makes way for the new. This cycle, proponents argue, is tied to astronomical alignments, cosmic events that occur every 12,000 years or so, marking the end of one era and the beginning of another. The fall of Tartaria, coinciding with the early 19th century, aligns with the end of such a cycle. In each instance, the pattern is the same: a cataclysmic event, whether natural, such as a flood, an earthquake, or cosmic impact, or engineered, as some suggest the mud flood was, wipes the slate clean. In the chaos that follows, new powers emerge, seizing control of resources and rewriting history to suit their needs. The mud flood, then, was not merely a geological oddity. It was either an opportunistic response to a natural disaster or the deliberate triggering of an event designed to bury the past, literally and figuratively. The survivors, traumatized and disoriented, became easy targets for manipulation. Records were destroyed, languages were altered, and new systems of control were instituted, all with the aim of ensuring that the knowledge of Tartaria would never again threaten the emerging order. But the evidence of these resets is still visible if one knows where to look. Geological layers reveal traces of sudden, widespread mud deposits covering ancient cities. Oral traditions speak of lost golden ages, of floods and fires that swept away all that came before. The similarities in art, architecture, and mythology across distant cultures hint at a shared origin, repeatedly suppressed but never wholly extinguished. Today, as we approach the end of another cosmic cycle, signs of awakening are everywhere. The old narrative, maintained through fear and ignorance, is losing its power. People are beginning to question, to remember, to seek out the hidden truths that have been buried for generations. Central to the Tartarian hypothesis is the idea of a worldwide architectural grid, a network of energy that once spanned the entire globe, uniting disparate cities and continents in a single, harmonious system. When we map the locations of Tartarian-era buildings, those with grand domes, soaring spires, and star-shaped foundations, we find that they align along precise geometric patterns known as ley lines. These lines, far from being mere coincidence, form a latticework of energy that connects the most significant sites on Earth. The architectural features themselves were not purely decorative. Domes, often capped with copper or gold, acted as receivers for atmospheric electricity. Spires and towers functioned as transmitters, amplifying and distributing energy across vast distances. Star forts, with their mathematically precise geometry, served as distribution nodes, collecting and channeling the Earth's natural electromagnetic forces. This network rendered the need for power lines, fuel, and batteries obsolete. Energy was drawn from the environment itself, clean, abundant, and free. The star forts, misunderstood by conventional historians as military installations, were in fact the backbone of this system. Their geometric design, while puzzling as a defensive measure, makes perfect sense as a means of optimizing energy collection and distribution. When the Tartarian civilization fell, so too did this network. The new rulers, lacking the knowledge or the will to maintain it, dismantled the system. In its place, a crude and inefficient infrastructure was erected, one based on scarcity, pollution, and control. The elegant wireless energy system of Tartaria was replaced by wires, transformers, and power plants, all designed to meter and monetize what had once been freely available. The loss of this system was not merely a technological setback, it was a blow to the very fabric of society. Where once cities had thrived in harmony with the Earth's energies, they now became centers of pollution, noise, and disease. The natural rhythms of life were disrupted, replaced by the artificial cycles of industry and commerce. But perhaps the most insidious aspect of the post-Tartarian world was the cultural memory wipe, the systematic erasure of all that had come before. This was accomplished through a variety of means, each more effective than the last. First came the schools. In the late 19th century, as Tartaria vanished from maps, governments around the world instituted mandatory education systems. Children were taught from standardized textbooks, all echoing the same narrative, all omitting the same facts. Local knowledge, oral traditions, and alternative histories were dismissed as superstition or folklore, replaced by the official story. Next came the destruction of knowledge. Libraries, archives, and city records were consumed by suspicious fires. The burning of the Library of Alexandria is only the most famous example. Countless smaller disasters, many occurring in the 1800s, erased the written record of Tartaria and its achievements. Books that contradicted the new narrative were banned or burned, their authors persecuted or forgotten. Language itself was reshaped, making it harder for each new generation to access the past. Spelling and grammar reforms, promoted as modernization, rendered older documents all but unreadable to the average person. The gap between the present and the past widened, until the memory of Tartaria became little more than a rumor. Mass trauma played its part as well. Wars, depressions, and disasters created a climate of fear and uncertainty. In such times, people are more likely to accept new narratives, to trade their curiosity for security. The emergence of mass media, newspapers, radio, and later television ensured that the official story was repeated endlessly, drowning out dissenting voices. The end result was a population unable to imagine a different past, and thus unable to envision a different future. The memory of Tartaria, once vibrant and alive, faded into obscurity. Yet, despite all efforts to erase it, the truth has a way of resurfacing. Today, as independent researchers, citizen historians, and curious individuals around the globe begin to investigate the anomalies in their own cities, a new picture emerges. People are documenting buried first floors, star forts hidden beneath modern developments, and technological features disguised as decoration. Online forums and social media have become hubs of discovery, where findings are shared, connections made, and the puzzle slowly reassembled. Inventors, too, are rediscovering the principles of free energy. Quantum resonance devices, atmospheric generators, and other breakthroughs are being developed, often in the face of ridicule or outright hostility. The same forces that suppressed Tartarian technology still operate, but the tide is turning. Information, once hoarded and hidden, is now spreading at unprecedented speed. More importantly, a shift in consciousness is underway. People are beginning to question the foundations of their reality, the stories they have been told, the limitations they have accepted. The realization is spreading. What was lost can be found again. What was suppressed can be reclaimed. Communities are forming around these discoveries, developing off-grid solutions inspired by Tartarian principles. Sustainable energy, harmonious architecture, and decentralized technologies are no longer the stuff of fantasy. They are the seeds of a new renaissance. As the cosmic cycle turns and the old structures falter, the possibility of a return to abundance and harmony grows ever more real. The suppressed history of Tartaria is not just a warning of what was lost, but a beacon pointing toward what can be regained. Look around you. In every city, in every town, the evidence is there, if you have eyes to see. The buried first floors, the grand facades, the star forts, the inexplicable monuments. They are not relics of a primitive past, but signposts of a forgotten future. Share your discoveries. Connect with others. Reclaim the narrative that was stolen from you. For in remembering Tartaria, we do more than correct the record. We ignite the spark of a new civilization, one that honors our true potential and restores the technological birthright that is every human's inheritance. The awakening has begun. The pages of history, so long torn and rewritten, are being restored. The light, once hidden, is shining again. And as we reclaim our past, we open the door to a future more wondrous than we have dared to imagine. The time has come to remember. The time has come to rebuild. The lost civilization of Tartaria is no longer lost. It lives again, in every act of discovery, in every question asked, in every truth reclaimed. This is our story. This is our future. And it begins now.